Here is your top news article from March 8, 2026. United States was likely responsible for bombing of girls' school in Iran, per early U.S. assessment. Source: CBS News. A preliminary U.S. intelligence assessment says the United States is likely responsible for the February 28 bombing of a girls' school in Iran. The attack killed 168 people, many of them children. The claim comes from sources told CBS News and is described as an early assessment. Here is your top news article from March 9, 2026. 5 Iranian women's soccer players receive asylum in Australia after Trump pressure. Source: Fox News. 5 members of Iran's women's soccer team were granted asylum in Australia on Monday. The move was reportedly connected to their perceived political stand during the Women's Asian Cup and mounting pressure from President Donald Trump. The report comes from Fox News. Here is your top news article from March 10, 2026. Republican Clay Fuller and Democrat Sean Harris advance to runoff in Georgia special election. Source: CBS News. Georgia's special election to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene did not produce an outright winner, sending the race to a runoff. The runoff will feature Republican Clayton Fuller, backed by Trump, against Democrat Sean Harris. The winner will become Greene's successor in Georgia's congressional seat. Here is your top news article from March 11, 2026. Iran's authorities warn against protests as Israel threatens Ba'athi forces. Source: Al Jazeera English. Iranian authorities have warned they will crack down forcefully on any anti-establishment protests inside the country. Protesters seen as acting on behalf of the United States or Israel will be treated as enemies, officials said. The warnings come as Israel and the US threaten to step up actions against Iran's Basij paramilitary forces. Here is your top news article from March 12, 2026. US fired at Iranian vessel that approached aircraft carrier, officials say. Source: CBS News. An Iranian vessel sailed too close to the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier. The United States fired at the Iranian vessel in response, according to 2 US officials briefed on the matter. CBS News reports the official's account and has not released additional details on casualties or the broader context. Here is your top news article from March 13, 2026. Iran oil hub strike raises risk of further disruptions to supply. Source: Bloomberg. A major U.S. attack on the island that exports the bulk of Iran's crude is raising the risk of broader supply disruptions. The strike heightens fears of further regional disruption, adding to strains on oil and gas markets already volatile after 2 weeks of war in the Middle East. The report highlights potential pressure on global energy supplies as tensions in the region remain elevated. Here is your top news article from March 14, 2026. US offers $10 million reward, chance to relocate for information on Iran's leaders. Send us a tip. Source: CBS News. The U.S. State Department is offering up to $10 million, plus the potential to relocate, for information on the whereabouts of 10 senior Islamic Republic leaders, including the new Supreme Leader and 9 top IRGC figures. The move signals a broad U.S. intelligence effort to track Iran's leadership. CBS News reports on Friday's announcement.